The computer. All right. You guys remind me later to distribute the recording if I forget. So welcome to the line. Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody give me a nod. All right, cool. So there have been so many of you who have come into our organization over the past month or two, all at different times, many interested in building. And then there's many of you on the line who are actually leaders who have recruited those who are on the line. So you're here to support your newbies. I find that sometimes we are so overly resourced that sometimes people are paralyzed as far as where to start, what to do. So the purpose of the call tonight was really just to get back to basics. Whether you've been in this business for 3 years and you just want to hit the refresh button and get back to the basics, or you're brand new and you're ready to put one foot in front of the other, but you're kind of like deer in the headlights. I've been given and told so much, I'm just not quite sure where to start. Or maybe you're brand spanking new, you started last week and you just don't know where to start. Also, a big portion of this call, I actually want to turn it into a Q&A. I think there's a lot of questions that fester, whether you're new or you've been around for a little while, and I think it's nice just to collect as a small group and address those questions. If you have a question and you've recently gotten started, or you've had an obstacle that you want to share with the group, we can talk through it as a group and kind of co-coach and help provide solutions. So without further ado, there's a couple of new names on the line, so I'm going to do my quick 30-second story. The rest of you are really tired of hearing it. But my name is Melissa Hinault, and I've been with Isagenix for about 3 years. And I was first introduced to these products when I was just really low on energy. I was traveling the country, had 2 little kids in diapers, and was super exhausted. And I was tired of trading time for money. And I was financially successful, but I had no financial freedom. I had my back against the wall. And a friend introduced me to these products, and within days, they lit me up from the inside out. Totally changed my trajectory from energy and health standpoint, even like relationships with my family because of the energy I was able to give them. Fast forward to today, it's been 3 years, and I have matched my corporate income, quit my job, and I'm doing this full time. Part-time, if that makes sense. So that's my story. For those of you who are new, for those of you who are good buddies of mine and have been building with us for a while, you could probably do this for me. You could give my 30-second story. But the reason it's important is because it needs to roll off your tongue. And that's like going to be my number one thing for the new people today is, what is your story? And is it succinct? And does it connect with the people that you're talking to? Let me put you guys in gallery mode so I can see all of you. There you go. So that's my story. And so that's going to be like homework assignment number 1 for those of you who are on the line and you have yet to open your mouth to a single person about these products, but you're like about to explode because you love them and you're feeling good and you don't know where to start. It's really actually way simpler than we make it. It's as simple as being authentic and having your own story, being simplistic and having your own story. And what was life like before you were introduced to Isagenix? How did you feel? How did you sleep? How did you work out? What was your waistline like? What was your financial situation? If you don't have a story yet and you're new, what you can lean on stories, right? So that can become your story. So if you're brand spanking new and you're pursuing this 100% for the financial opportunity, but you don't have that story yet, you lean on it. You say, when you connect with someone, and you say, I've got this great friend that I trust dearly, who's really run with this organization, and she's done tremendously well. And you tell that story. And for that reason, I'm following in her footsteps, right? So whether it's a financial story and it's not quite yours yet, you can leverage someone's. All of you should have a product story. All of you. It doesn't have to be weight loss. For many of you, it's not. It can be overall health, athletic performance. So as far as back to basics, homework assignment number 1, get your 30-second story locked down. If you're a leader on this call, that should be the number 1 thing you're doing with your new people on the line. Like after we get off the phone, you should schedule a call with them, whomever is on this line that you personally enrolled, and have them practice their 30-second story with you. So that's it. The second thing, I'm just going to give you guys a couple of simple things here. The second one is getting plugged in. It sounds like, if you've been around a while, we sound like a broken record. But the reality is, y'all, until I became really intentional in plugging into the calls, my business didn't really take off. Because if you think about it, we're all over the country. I see Christine driving down the interstate in California right now. I see Tammy up in Ohio. I see Stacy over in Greensboro. I see Brian's picture of his beautiful family. I wish you'd turn your video camera on so I could say hi, but he's in Kentucky. And so my point is, we're in silos. And if you're trying to do this alone and you have absolutely no experience in network marketing, hi, hey Brian, and you have absolutely no experience in network marketing, but you want to run with this, how in the world I'm just going to be honest, how do you expect to run with this? Like, do we think that we're just miraculously going to be smacked in the head with all this knowledge about how to be a phenomenal network marketer and we're just going to make millions? That's just not how this business works. It's just not. And so if you're in your silo, in your city, in your town, in your state, on your coast, and you're, hey Bruce, how's it going? And you're not dialing in, you're totally missing the point. Here's the deal. There's going to be calls that you dial into and you're like, I already know that. I've heard this. There's going to be other calls you dial into. You never know when that speaker is just going to strike a chord with you and you're going to be like, man, I needed that yesterday. For two things. One is it's going to set intentions for you. When you listen to the calls daily, whether they're recorded or they're live, it sets your mindset. It should be one of the first things you do in the mornings. I don't care if it's while you're brushing your teeth, taking a shower, walking the dog, commuting to work, driving the kids to work, whatever it is you have to do. It sets your intention. It may not be what you focus on all day long, but it sets your intention and mindset all day long. The second piece that I wanted to follow up with on that is that you never know when one of those speakers is going to strike a chord with you on something you need. So for instance, I've been in the business for 3 years. And it was 2 months ago that Herb Cepeda walked me through about 4 different compensation models. And it was the first time I actually owned it like a business owner and went back and listened to that recording like 6 times because it was something I really needed to know because I was about to get on the line with a top network marketer in Mexico with another company. And I couldn't come at him being the product expert and the pharmacist that's led this business the way I have, because I can't recruit business builders being a product expert because it doesn't duplicate. I've done well in the past doing that, but to take it to the next level, I've got to be able to learn from these leaders above us and learn different angles of the business if I want to change the demographic of my business. Does that make sense? So, when I listen to Herb, again, I've been doing this for 3 years. You would think, oh, Melissa's been doing this for 3 years. Why would she plug in? Because there's a lot of people leading the calls that are making multiple 6 figures that really know what they're doing, and we get free coaching from them. So why wouldn't I? They've got it figured out even better than I do, right? So my point is, it was that Friday afternoon, Herb was in my ear talking about the compensation models, and I was like, man, I needed this, like at just the right time. And it gave me 100% confidence when I got on the line with that top network marketer to go toe-to-toe about his compensation plan and how the generational restrictions he had. I'm not going to get into the details, but the point is, had I not listened to Herb and re-listened to Herb and re-listened to Herb, I would not have been able to have that financial opportunity call with a top network marketer. So here's the thing. I'm going to send you guys on the thread that I attached you all to for this particular call. Some of the stuff I'm speaking to, I'm going to dump into that thread tonight after we get off. Don't be overwhelmed because Messenger, the text can look really heavy and dense. I would suggest that you take what I dump in there and copy it and paste it into a Word document on your computer and save it for later reference. It's actually all available on some of our Facebook pages for team building, but I want you to have it at your fingertips so that you just know where it is. Make an Isagenix document reference resource, okay? So here's the daily calls. We have morning calls from 8 to 8:30 with the global exec team. For those of you who are new, I should probably rewind and say that we also have calls from 8:30 to 9. This is where we can almost be overly resourced because we have lots of millionaires on our team who've broken away and they're just complete badasses, and they can run a call full of hundreds of people. So let me start with the 8:30 to 9 calls are the Cepeda calls. And the 8:30 to 9 calls, Herb Cepeda is the top Isagenix builder of all of Isagenix worldwide, and he happens to be the top of our upline. And they run calls from 8:30 to 9 every single day. I love listening to their calls. It's a very different twist. Their focus is just different. The global exec calls from 8 to 8:30 are run by some millionaires that were actually enrolled by Herb Cepeda. They got so big, they decided to break off, and they really are creating and cultivating a culture of professionals. Like they're more like Susan's vision with the global exec team is to really have a business of professionals in network marketing. So you'll see that they're kind of the way they run their calls and their speakers are a little bit different. No better, no worse. They're just different. And that's why when leaders get really big, they break off and do their own thing. I personally try to listen to them both. With the Cepeda calls, I especially like Wednesdays are connecting calls and Fridays are compensation calls. I don't miss them ever. Herb Cepeda is brilliant. There's a reason he's made $25 million. And he talks to us for free every day. So why wouldn't you listen to him? So that's resource number 2. The third resource, hopefully you're all connected to this, that is our business pages. So there's 2 business pages on Facebook. One is called the Global Exec Team business page. That coincides with the Global Exec calls from 8 to 8:30. That page is important because like right now at 9 o'clock tonight, every Wednesday night, and we'll talk about this in a minute, we have opportunity calls for you to funnel in your prospects. The millionaires do the work for you. They do all the talking. On Wednesday nights, the dial-in information is always posted on the Global Exec Facebook page every week, who's going to be the guest speaker. And so it's important for those of you who aren't on social media a lot, or at all, I recommend that you still make a daily habit to go to the Global Exec Facebook page just once a day or once every other day, just as though you would if you were in a corporate role and you were checking your email, right? I'm not saying you need to go in there and be social and comment and like on everything. It can actually be really a waste of time, to be honest. You want to uplift your team, but you also want to be you want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Income producing. But those are business pages for a reason. Things that are really important are announced there. So like if there's a seasonal shake that's coming out or there's a promotion that's coming out, it's all going to be posted on that business page. So it's important that you at least check it a couple times a week. Go to that Facebook page, scroll through the post. A lot of it's going to be announcing people of rank advanced and celebrating those things. But occasionally there'll be a post like there was today that we're having the opportunity to call tonight at 9 o'clock. And that's where you send your prospects, people who are interested in the financial opportunity or the products, and you can funnel them in to hear these people speak. You don't have to do the work. The other Facebook page, so there's 2 business pages I want you guys following. The other Facebook page is called Residual Rockstars. So make sure you're on those 2 pages. If you're not on Residual Rockstars and Global Exec, let your upline know. We want to make sure you're on these 2 pages. Residual Rockstars is just a more intimate team group because it's basically lower down in the upline, meaning, so Jessica, so the Global Exec team is run by a couple of millionaires on our team, but then Amanda Ham, who enrolled me, Amanda Ham down, has created the Residual Rockstars page. So it's just a more intimate group of a couple hundred of us who are all on the same team, on Amanda Ham's team. And there you'll see a lot of group coaching and information posted there too. Again, try to check it once or twice a week minimum, just to make sure you're not missing anything. Like Mango was released on Monday. You don't want to miss that a massive like new seasonal shakes coming out because it's something to get your customers excited about. Okay. So those are simple. Get plugged in, and what I mean by get plugged in is get dialed in, and check the Facebook pages on occasion. Now, if you can't make the calls live because you're in the OR scrubbed in and it's physically impossible or something like that, or maybe you work night shifts and you're sleeping during the calls, like, you know, if you've got a really good reason for not making the calls, I'm also going to post how you can listen to the recordings, because I've been known in the past to do the recordings while doing dishes and packing lunches at night too. Okay, now let me tell you that the speakers on these calls are all six-figure income earners, six-figure to multiple six-figure. Most of them are millionaires, or will be millionaires soon. So that you have a lot to learn from them. Okay, all right, that's that. Now, the second piece of homework so we've talked about getting plugged in. The second piece is, what about your list? Those of you who've been around a while, you know we talk about this. I actually need to revamp and revisit my list. What do I mean by your list? Your network, okay? I love how Susan Miller kind of articulates it brilliantly. For those of you who've come in who are really wanting to just drive a business and go for the business, what I call top down, talk about the financial opportunity. Some of you are doing a little bit of both, talking about the financial opportunity and you're leading with product. Some of you are leading with all product. It's all great. But I love how Susan articulates this for those of you who are really going for the business. I want you to take pen to paper and make it a brainstorming activity and think about your networks. Okay, so what networks are you in? What networks within your life and within your spouse's life are you a part of? Within the church, within the community, within the neighborhood? Maybe it's athletic teams that you play on. If your children play sports, maybe you know, your parents in sports. Maybe it's Boy Scouts or PTA. I mean, there's a million different networks that you have. Like for me, friends from pharmacy school. For me, it was my professional network. I can't tell you how many people in my corporate world need this nutrition because of they're road warriors. They're on the road all the time, and it's like a perfect fit for them. So think through your networks, and if you really want to run with this business and grow fast, you want to then think about within those networks, who is the most influential? Who is the most influential within those networks? Who knows a lot of people? Now, here's the thing. You may speak with that person and ultimately get them on the products, and they may never become a business builder of yours, and that's okay. But we love when people who are really influential love our products, because guess what? They talk about it and they bring you business. I don't know if Sadie Cox is on the line or not. I love Sadie. She's one of my best friends. Sadie has a massive sphere of influence. We went to pharmacy school together. We went to undergrad together. This is just a great story on why you guys should look for folks with great influence. Sadie, somebody's chatting something. I'll check it in just a second. Sadie was president of our graduating high school our college class. She was also president of pharmacy school. And when we got her on the product, she had plateaued on a different product or a different diet. We like knocked another 60 pounds off of her. And she has like 5 bazillion Facebook friends, you name it. Like the result was like visceral. You saw it and you were like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. Like, what did she do? Do you know that 3 executives on my team are through Sadie's downline, including Tammy? Tammy is my absolute, probably I would say hands down, my biggest business builder. And she's like 3 PET below me. I didn't know her at all. And now I'm forever grateful for her. Sadie didn't know her. But see, Sadie has a huge sphere of influence, a huge network. And I was able to just coach her a little bit on, you know, you've had these really great results. Like, you know, let's at least get your products paid for. And I just coached her a little bit on how to share authentically, because people were asking her, because she had such great results. So if you're going for the business, the way to be really methodical about this is to think about who has the most influence within your networks. think about your groups and networks and who has the most influence. Now, if you're wanting to lead this from a product, if you're going for the product, or maybe you want to do a little bit of both, I think that there's really great success in driving both at the same time. When you're thinking about product, and this is where you can just make your list. It doesn't have to be groups of networks, just your list of people you know. Who do you know? And then you want to think, who needs this? It doesn't, what is from an energy standpoint, from a weight loss standpoint, from a weight gain standpoint, from an athletic performance standpoint, from a financial standpoint. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can approach that in just a second. But the key is you got to put pen to paper and get organized about it. And you'll realize that you know a lot more people than you think you do. And I tend to like randomly think of people at the strangest times. So I'll put it in the notes section of my phone. And then when I get home to where I actually have my list, I'll then put it on my computer. Okay. So let's talk about in the last couple of minutes before I open up for questions. I want to talk about, so what do you do once you've made your list? Some of you are chewing at the bit, but then you're like, you're just not sure what to say or what to do to get started. The key is we have to be willing to fail forward. It doesn't matter what we've done. Any career we've been in the past, we had to learn. I think back to my very first couple of days as a pharmaceutical sales rep. And Anthony Kokolas, some of you guys on the line are from GSK. He was my boss at the time, and I can just laugh now thinking later on as I became a manager and worked with brand new people, seeing them fumble through the verbiage, in a sales call, for instance, trying to hit all the right points. We have to learn the verbiage. You have to stumble through it. And if you do it with your closest friends and family first, which is really kind of how network marketing starts, you kind of start with your warm market and then kind of branch out. We just have to fail forward and learn to articulate what the opportunity is, what it's done for us, and connect with people and what it can do for them. Now, the thing I love about Isagenix versus my previous sales job was that these products have actually changed me. Like, I actually have a story. In my previous life, where I managed products with asthma and COPD, the products hadn't necessarily changed my life. I wasn't necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? Like authentically sharing a story about what these drugs have done for me and they can do for you. What I love about Isagenix is that it's authentic. What have these products done for you? And how can you connect the dots with the people you talk to? Whether you're in the gym and you want to talk about athletic performance, or you're, at a family gathering and you're talking about weight loss, or you're talking to a friend neighbor who's not sleeping well. And if it's not your story, you can lean on the fact that others have those stories. If someone's complaining about insomnia, for instance, and you haven't had that issue, I did. I can tell you, I took Ambien for 10 years before Isagenix, and I haven't taken a pill since 3 days after I started. Lean on my story. Oh gosh, that's really tough that you've had such a tough time sleeping. I started on this nutrition a couple months, whatever, ago, and they really turned my health around. Now, I haven't had issues with sleep, but my friend Melissa, man, she swears by what these products have done for her for sleep. So you see what I'm saying as far as verbiage goes? Like, it doesn't have to be your story, but you need to be able to connect the dots, right? So there's a couple of different ways to get started with that list. A lot of you are comfortable with what I kind of call kind of the push campaign. People get I do it too, so I don't want to like downgrade it, but I think you actually can have really great success with just directly talking to people. A lot of times we'll just post, we create a brand for ourselves on social media, and you can create a tremendous business doing it that way, posting before and afters and talking about what the products have done for you. And I'm going to post some verbiage on our thread tonight that you can use for your very first post on social media if you like. But I personally think that where those of you who are brand new, beyond kind of a coming out post on what these products have done for you, I think directly messaging people, and not just messaging, but like picking up the phone and calling them, and having a more kind of visceral response of like a conversation and connecting with people can make a huge difference. So, we can get many of you to consultant by Sunday. Those of you that are brand new, if you think through your network and who needs this and the story that you have, what these products have done for you, what they've done for others, I think that if you directly connect with some of your close network, you can simplistically, authentically share what you've learned about these products and how they can help them. So I'm going to share in the messenger thread some templates. I'm going to give you a template that I use in LinkedIn to directly message people about the financial opportunity. And what I've done is created it so that you can lean on my story, if it's not your story yet. So you can lean on my story if you're wanting to reach out to people. Who are the people within your network that you would love to be on the beaches in Fiji with right now? You guys might think that sounds silly, but I'm here to tell you, I'm only working 2 hours a day right now, and I'm 38 years old. And I'm realizing I'm working a whole lot less than all my friends, and I need some friends that don't work so much because I want to play some in the afternoon, right? And that sounds silly, but that's what I'm saying. Who do you want to build an empire with? That you can just go, I'm going to Maine for 2 weeks in August. I'm going to the beach for 2 weeks in August. I'm going to Hawaii for 10 days in a couple weeks. And it sucks that I can't, my husband can't just go to Maine with me for 2 weeks. So seriously, if you're really going to build this business, who do you want to help retire? Who do you love spending time with? Who could you create this phenomenal business with? And then you could both get on a plane and go to Fiji for 3 weeks, because neither one of you has to punch in anywhere else. This is reality. Seriously. Okay, so that's I'll get off my soapbox, but it's true. I'm looking for friends that don't work so hard right now. Can anybody have a glass of wine at 3 p.m.? All right. So there's the push campaign, blasting stuff on social media. There's the pull where you're actually directly messaging. I'm going to give you some verbiage to directly message on the financial opportunity. I'm going to give you verbiage to directly message on the products and see for interest. I'm also going to post verbiage on how to post on social media your first post, on nutritional cleansing and how you're feeling. I have been extremely successful using that platform for 2.5, 3 years. Okay, so those templates will be posted. Now, the last thing or two I want to say is protocol. So once you've connected and someone has expressed interest, it's important that you bring in your upline on the first couple of calls. So for those of you who are brand new, like Alyssa, I know I've done a couple of 3-way calls with her. Lady, I know I've done a couple with you. Tammy, I know I've done some with you recently, and even Kim. It's important, when you get people on the line, especially if it's your close network, there's nothing wrong with saying, when you get interest and people are willing to get on the phone and take a listen and hear what you have to say, it's okay to be transparent and say, look, I'm still learning this business. Or, look, I'm still learning about these products, but my friend, fill in the blank, Melissa or whomever else is your upline that you want to pull in, has really been crushing this business for the past 3 years, or is fill in the blank. If you're going the product angle, Melissa is a pharmacist who's been, with this company for the past couple of years. I just want to make sure that I'm able to get your questions answered. Since I'm so new, I'd love to bring her on the line with us to ensure that she can address all of your questions. So the 3-way call is critical in the first couple of calls you have. And some of you I didn't personally enroll. Obviously, you're all on my team. I'm saying it right now. You all have my phone number, and I am happy and more than willing to do 3-way calls with you. Whether it's about the product or whether it's about the financial opportunity, I'm happy to jump on the call with you. But it's important to bring us in because that's how you learn. Amanda Ham did probably 7 or 8 3-way calls with me when I first started. I had no idea. I knew the products were phenomenal, but I didn't know how to lead with the business. I didn't know how to articulate how the products worked. I certainly didn't know how to handle cost objections. So bringing her in on the line, I was able to take a lot of notes and learn. Now, you can learn a lot from the calls that we have in the mornings too, but it's really critical to get your upline in on the first couple of calls. The other thing is to set expectations on when people are ready. So, you know, sometimes it's funny because all of a sudden it clicks with us and we're like, I'm doing this business. I'm going to grow this business and I'm going to take off and I'm going to blow up. And then, you know, the first 10 people you reach out to are like fence sitters. And they can't decide. They're not saying no, but they're not saying yes. We can fall into the trap of hounding those same like 8 people until we just completely scare them away. It's important that we have that big long list of people that we create in the beginning so that we have lots of, we're sieving for interest. I call it like a conveyor belt, right? And we're just sieving for interest. And you have to respect the decision cycle. What I mean by that is I want you to take a minute and reflect on how long it took you to decide to get started. Raise your hand, if I can see you, if you enrolled the day that your sponsor introduced the idea of Isagenix to you. Tammy did. Okay. Melva's a rock star after 2 days. Nice. Okay. What about after a week? Who enrolled after a week? Or less? What about a month or less? What about 2 months or less? Right? So are you guys hearing? Oh, what about within 6 months? All right. I'm seeing Allie raise her hand. Bruce is raising his hand. Yep. Took me 8. Took me 8 months. So this is a good exercise. So what I want you guys to realize is that this is a business of persistence, not obnoxiousness, but persistence and timing. And so we're just touching people. We're just touching, you know, hey, I thought about you. Hey, I thought about you, but you don't do it every day. I have kind of a 2-2-2 method. You know, you contact them 2 days later, you follow up. 2 weeks later, you follow up. 2 months later, you follow up. And the great thing is we have resources that give you a reason to follow up, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But they give you a reason, like well, I'll just go ahead. So like I'm having a virtual launch next week. You guys can invite anyone and anyone to attend the virtual launch. It gives you a reason to connect. You just reach out. Hey, Sue, I know you and I had a conversation about Isagenix. Not sure if you're still interested. My friend Melissa, she's a PharmD. She's going to be doing an overview about the products and opportunity next week. So you just touch. And that's what Amanda did. I mean, every month or two, she'd send me an article or she'd send me a recording or she'd send me a conference call. And I just wasn't ready. And then one day I was ready, just like one day Allie was ready and one day Bruce was ready. It's like there's this mind shift. And so we have to have persistence, but we also have to have patience with people, okay? So then that makes me just land, the last thing I wanted to say here, and I'm going to open up for questions, is to land on the funnel effect. And what I mean by the funnel effect is we want to funnel people in. So if you've got people who are interested in, who've expressed any level of interest, the first thing you want to do, and this is why we're on Facebook, is you want to add them to the ramp effect. The ramp effect is our product users Facebook page. This is the number one thing you should do when someone expresses interest. Here's why. Does anybody know how many hours a day the average human spends on social media? Too much, right? Bruce says 2 hours. 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours a day. It's pretty depressing to think about that. Oh, Blady put 6. Yeah. So my point here is when you have someone who's expressed an interest in Isagenix, whether you're active on social media or not, they most likely are. And so one of the first things I do, if it's someone I don't know, I'll hand them my phone and say, hey, let's become Facebook friends. If we're already friends, that makes it really easy. I just let them know. I say, hey, since we talked about Isagenix, maybe I give them my 30-second story. We had an opportunity for me to give my 30-second story, they express some level of interest, then I would say, hey, you know, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and add you to our product user page. It's a really great page where you can just see success stories and learn about the products. You know, no pressure. It's a closed page. If it's not of value, you can delete yourself. Here's the key. This is direct marketing for you while you're doing nothing. While your friend spends 4.5 hours a day thumbing through Facebook while they're supposed to be working or whatever, they're going to see before and after pictures. They're going to see testimonies, and you're not doing it. You're not in their face. You're not trying to sell them anything, and they can dig and take a look and scroll through, and that's part of the funnel effect, right? They start to see it, and you know, every day when they get on their phone, they see a little more and a little more and a little more, okay? The second piece of the funnel effect is know our resources. So like I said, tonight at 9 p.m., we had an opportunity call. What does that mean? Opportunity calls are run by our Isagenix millionaires. They talk about the product, but they mainly talk about the financial opportunity. So if you're like me, I'm all business right now. I'm leading with the business. I send all of my prospects to the Wednesday night calls. I'll give you the link in the messenger thread. It's the same link every single week. Every single week on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. This is part of the funnel effect. You add them to the ramp effect. If you're interested in the business, you send them to the opportunity call. They hear testimonies from other people, not you, but millionaires who've done this, okay? The third piece are the virtual launches. So I'm hosting a virtual launch once a month. I've just committed to that for you guys. Where I'm going to run, it's going to be pretty product heavy, but I'm also going to touch on the financial opportunity. And I'm going to do one next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. I'm going to do them every month. This is going to give you another reason to connect. We talked about the funnel effect. You're asking people to take a look. When you reach out to your network, hey, not sure if this is for you, but it's really changed my life. Would love for you to take a look. Would you be interested in joining this call, right? So those are three layers of the funnel effect: ramp effect, the opportunity calls, and my virtual launches to learn about the product. Just so you see how you can funnel people in, and you're not having to be the workforce. You're just the connector. You're just funneling in your network and then following up. Hey, did you get a chance to listen to that call that night? What did you think of it, right? You can schedule a follow-up call, okay? So that's it. That was it for my funnel effect. So on that, I'm going to land on what's going on next week, and then I promise I'm opening up for questions. I had more to say than I thought I did. Sorry, guys. So promo. The folks on the line who've been around a while know that I used to do these a lot last year. I am going to run a promo next week. The key is we have to kind of keep it on the down low because it's just for my team. So what I don't want is us chattering about this on the big business pages because it's just for my downline. And we don't want people to have, get upset that they're not getting the promo. So I'm going to run a virtual launch next Wednesday. Anyone who attends, if you have someone attend the virtual launch and they enroll on a value pack between Wednesday and Sunday of next week, I'm going to personally give you $100 for each value pack or ultimate pack that's enrolled. So it's going to be in your pocket. You can decide to keep that $100, or you can decide to use it as a pass-through to offset the cost of people that you're enrolling. I will not personally be paying anyone directly that you enroll. It's against company policy. I'm going to be compensating you personally for enrolling the value pack. If you'll recall, you get a $100 PIB for enrolling a value pack right now. I would shoot for enrolling 2 next week, because if you enroll 2, you get 400 because you get double PIB, and you get 200 from me. So you make a quick $600 with 2 value packs. That's what I would make after working 12 hours in a pharmacy on the weekends back in the day. 12 hours versus 2 value packs. I take the 2 value packs any day. All right. So that's my promo. I hope this lights a fire under your fannies to start reaching out and connecting to people. I'll post the virtual launch link on Residual Rockstars. That's our team Facebook page, Business Builder page. I'll get the link to you guys so that you can pass it on and invite people, and let them know if they enroll by Sunday of next week. That's the dangling carrot, you know, we got the $100. All right. I promise this is my last nugget and I'm opening up the questions. People ask, how do I divide my time? I'm going to tell you, you want to divide it when you're getting started and you're working this business. If you're working full-time, or even if you're working part-time like I am, full-time, if that makes sense. You want to do things a third, a third, a third. I call it introduce, invite, and invest. When you look at the time that you're spending on this business weekly, you want to make sure 1/3 of that time you are introducing yourself. Meaning you're either building your network if you've been around for a while. If you've been around for over a year and you've enrolled your warm market, you should be finding ways to network with new people. If you're brand new, the introduce piece is just you having the opportunity to share your 30-second story with your warm market. You should spend 1/3 of your time a week finding opportunities to share your 30-second story and find the opportunity to connect with people and funnel them in. The next third is invite. You should spend 1/3 of your time in actually inviting people to take a look. So maybe that comes from the introduce. Maybe you've introduced and told your 30-second story. Now you're following up and saying, hey, it was great chatting with you the other day at the gym. Not sure if you would be interested, but we have this launch next Wednesday where you can learn more about the products. So that would be the invite piece, right? So you've got the introduce, you've got the invite. And then the next third, once you begin enrolling people, is invest. So when you first enroll people in the first 30 days, you want to make sure they've got the appropriate support. Meaning, you know, that they've got when they get their box, have they watched the open box video? Do they have any questions? That type of thing. And for those of you who are on the line and you've been in the business for a while, that invest piece also is invest in your new consultants who are wanting to build. Are you available for 3-way calls? Are you pouring into them? So I try to break it down 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. I fall into spending too much time in invest right now, and I'm trying to kind of pull back a little bit and focus a little bit more on introducing. I have found that I'm not recruiting as much right now because I'm doing too much coaching. So it's interesting, if you look at your calendar, you can kind of see if you're overdoing one or the other. That's it. Was this helpful for the new people, or was it just like completely overwhelming? You see some faces here. Bruce, was that helpful, Bruce? Yeah, Bruce is giving a thumbs up. So let me summarize so you guys can walk away with clear action items. Number 1, what's your 30-second story? Life before and after Isagenix. Number 2, get plugged in. Listen to the calls, check the business pages. Do that a couple times a week. Number 3, make your list. If you're going running for the businessman, think about the top influencers within each network of your networks. Number 5, reach out and connect. Take that list and start talking. Whether you're calling people or you're using, I love Messenger on LinkedIn. I'm communicating with a lot of people within my professional network. And like for folks like Bruce, you're more than welcome to like leverage my story if you're connecting with folks within our professional network. You know, I don't mind anybody sharing my name or my story to leverage as they're building the opportunity. And the last piece is the funnel effect. Make sure you know what resources we have to funnel people in to the ramp effect, to the opportunity calls, to the launches, so that you don't have to do the work. All you're doing is plugging your network in and then following up, okay? So hopefully I've tried to make this somewhat simplistic, like back to basics for you guys, because there's so much out there. But the bottom line is, what's your story? You know, are you plugging in and staying engaged and learning? And do you have a process to follow up with people? And is it all written down? Do you know where the resources are to funnel them in? You don't have to be an expert right now. You just have to be willing to open your mouth about your own story. All right, that's that. Don't forget about my promo next week. But don't stop enrolling people this week just to hold off and put them on value packs next week, because cycles are looking good this week with peach mango. Some of you guys are going to hit some some sweet rank advancements. I think we're going to see some 1 stars and 2 stars this week. All right, I'm going to open up for questions. There's a lot of newbies on the line. No question is like silly, because some of you are brand new. And even if you've been around the block forever and you've got a question, or you've got a question for a teammate,
so
have at it.
That's what that is from my labs.
Is it possible for someone to do the business side only without using the products? I have a contact that's interested in selling only without using products due to her financial situation at the moment. I don't think so. I'm going to be honest, Liza. I think that it's really tough to coach and tell people about these products without having a product experience. I've personally never seen it. I think that I would rather go the route of looking at the financial situation. So it sounds like she can't afford it. So to me, that's like the number one reason she needs to get out there and share it so that she can afford it. So maybe what you're getting at is before she actually gets on the products, maybe she enrolls a couple people so she can buy hers, right? So if she can't afford the products, can she become an associate, pay the $29, and then enroll? If she enrolls 2 value packs a week, she makes $450, and she can get her own pace setter pack for free. So Liza, that's what I would recommend to this person, is that she needs to get 2 value packs, get them enrolled, and she can pay $29 to become an associate. Once she gets those value packs enrolled, take that $450 and get on a pace setter for herself. Does that make sense, Liza? Hopefully it does. Let's see. What other questions do you guys have?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Melissa.
Yes.
If I could piggyback on that. So I have actually encountered a similar situation where the person did use the products but really didn't want to and didn't really use them. So they didn't have a product story to share. And for you to tell somebody that these products work and all that, you really have to have your own story. She had no success, and everybody posting on Facebook.
Did they set it or anything?
Her authenticity was there.
Like,
right.
Realign it?
Not going to buy it.
Yep. Well, and that's true. And that's the thing, is this is a business. Network marketing is a business of connecting, and it's a business of connecting with your network, people who trust you. So I personally, I'm not going to promote a product to my network that I'm not in love with. That's the whole concept of network marketing. Network marketing just puts their money, the person who gets the most money is the person who's the most enthusiastic about sharing with their network, sharing their experience with their network. And, people can smell commission breath. If you're just out there trying to push something and you're not passionate about making a difference in world health, more power to you, but you're not going to get too far with your immediate network. Maybe with a cold market, but not with people who know you well, So I agree.
They need to isogenics.
Anybody?
Let me
Yeah.
question.
Have you ever been in a situation
where people, I mentioned a product about them very quickly, but they immediately went to what's the price?
Is it a pink
how do you handle that situation?
Yep. So that's a great question. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you a price objection video. Let me write it down to Bruce. Okay. We've got a great price objection video. It's been around a while, but it's really good. So here's what I do. When people ask about price, so especially for you, being new with enrolling, the first thing I would say is if it's someone in casual, like passing, I would say something along the lines of, that's a great question. The thing is, we have multiple different systems based off of your health and wellness goals. So there's no one set cookie cutter set price. It's all based on the right solution for you. And then the key is to get them to commit to getting on the phone with you, to spend a little bit of time talking about their health and wellness goals and pulling me in or Dawn in on that conversation. And then you can see how it's actually no different than, I think back to that sales model at GSK that we went through called, what was it called? The spin sell cycle.
Yeah.
Identifying what the problem is, like the pain point with your prospect first. People, a lot of times we fall into the trap of trying to sell a solution before we truly know what's going on. And so if we can get them on the phone and you can hear how we kind of peel back the onion and understand really what their health and wellness goals are, what their challenges are, and why they haven't been successful in the past. I'm going to mute everybody for a second. If you see kind of how we have that conversation, then by the time we land on the package that we offer, people are more committed to leaning in and listening because they've shared with us their problem and like why they haven't achieved it thus far. The pain of not acting, right? When I think back to spin sell, like the pain of not making a change, convinces them that they really do need to invest in this. Now, having said all that, you're like, okay, that's great, Melissa, but what would you actually say versus pulling me on the line if I can't get you on the line and they're standing right in front of my face and they're like wanting to know what pack did I get on and exactly how much was it? And you can't evade that. So in that scenario, what I do is, so for instance, with my neighbor across the street, she's like, well, what is this 30-day system that you're talking about? And what did you do? And so what I would say is, well, I started off on the value pack. It's a nutritional rebalancing system. I was all in. I wanted to do a full nutritional overhaul, and it replaced 60 of my meals for the month. And with the new value pack, I think you get over 20 snacks in that pack. So basically it's like front door service. You get 60 meals, 2/3 of your groceries at your front doorstep for the month. And when they ask, I say it's around $20 to $22 a day for that first 30 days, which if you think about what you're getting 2 meals, snacks, comprehensive vitamins, all of that every single day for 30 days. And if people give you a little bit of pushback, sometimes what I'll say is, well, let's walk through your typical day right now. Let's walk through what you're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most people eat out like once during the day for lunch or at night. People drink coffee. They stop by Starbucks and you spend $10 at Starbucks between a coffee and a muffin. And you can start off your morning with Isagenix mocha shake for $3. It's like less than $3 a shake within the canister. So my point is, what I do, Bruce, a lot of times is people will get pushed back because they see the products as a supplement. They're not seeing them as an actual meal replacement. So they're thinking, oh my gosh, $589 on top of everything, like what I'm eating. And I have to take them backwards and say, wait a minute, what you have to remember is in the first 30 days, we're replacing 2/3 of your groceries. And I also tell them, look, and that's just in the first 30 days. It's not like every single month you're going to pay $589. The first month is a nutritional overhaul. We're going to get your body alkaline. We're going to get the toxins out. And then it's about maintenance. And I always tell people up front, maintenance is like $170. When it's almost like people let their guard down when you let them know that our maintenance is way less expensive. It's less than like $5 a day. Because at first they may think you're trying to get them on something that they're going to spend $600 a month on. And that's not the case. The case is we're trying to get your body in tip-top shape. We're going to go all in for 30 days, and then we're just going to maintain it. And when you talk to people in that manner and talk about investing in your health for 30 days and that it's 2/3 of their meals, people will tend to lean in. Some folks are still going to push back and be like, that's just asinine. There's no way I'm going to spend that. Then I'll backpedal and say, well, we do have the premium pack, which is $400. You know, we can skip out on the vitamins and the greens and the coupons and the stuff, all the other good things that come in the value pack. But I always lead with the value pack. I hardly ever sell a 30-day system, like a basic 30-day. I won't even talk about it unless it's a spouse. Like if there's two going in together, you know, one person gets a value pack and one person gets a 30-day. Because the reality is, Bruce, and this is for new people on the line, our research shows us that people who come in on the value pack have the best product experience. They have the best results. They refill their cart at a higher volume. And they tend to be product users for life, because if you think about it, when they do their first 30 days, they didn't get the bare bones essentials. They got the whole support system for cleanse days. They had the Whey Thins for cleanse days. They had the Isodelites for cleanse days. They have the blender for palatability of the shakes. They've got the vitamins to ensure they're getting everything to support enzymatic activity in their bodies during those 30 days. So the people get a better product experience, and then when they go to manage their auto ship, they've tried more products. And so they want to put more products in their cart and they're ordering more. So it duplicates downline in your business to lead with the value pack. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. But if they're going to hang up on you, then I'll talk about the 30-day pack. But once every 2 or 3 months, I'd roll a basic 30 days. Okay, what other questions do you guys have?
So Melissa,
Yes.
I had a girl seek me out on LinkedIn today. She actually connected with me, sent me a message, said, hey, I saw something that you posted that I really liked. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we got to talking. I added her on Facebook, added her to the Ramp Effect. And so I just want to know, like, what is your, like, events? Like, yep. What do you do, like, first? Do you send them, like, I always send that video that you did that's on Residual Rockstars, that YouTube video. It's also on therampeffect.com.
Yep.
To them before I get on the phone, because that's what you do. Mm-hmm. So, like, do you secure the phone call and then send the video, or do you send the video, say, you know, let me know what you think, and then do the phone call?
So that's great. So is this someone who's solely interested in product or business and product, or you don't know?
She happened to say, do you guys do this on a payment plan? And I said, would you be interested if I could show you how to get your products paid for and more? Would you be interested? Mm-hmm. And she said, possibly.
Yep. Yeah, so this is what I would do. I always try to get people to commit to an actual call before I send them anything. Because sometimes if we send people information before they commit, then they'll go do a bunch of research and, like, put demons in their own heads and change their mind about talking to you. Even with the YouTube videos, like, my YouTube videos they're educational, but if you thumb through enough videos, you're going to find a bunch of negative stuff about Isagenix on YouTube. So my point is, if you send somebody my YouTube video like a week before the call, they have time to, like, research a million things about Isagenix. They can talk themselves out of it. So what I do is I have people agree to the call, and typically about 24 hours, a lot of times just like 3 or 4 hours before the actual call, I'll send them my YouTube video and ask them to watch it before our call. And if they don't have time to watch it before our call, I just say, well, watch it during the first 15 minutes we were supposed to talk, and text me when you're done. And then we can chat. And that way people get just enough, but then to not waste your time, but then, but not too much dead time for them to go do a whole bunch of research. Because there's negative things about all kinds of products. I mean, you can find something negative if you want to. And with the business builders, when I get on the call with them, I always review our executive summary. I kind of like created my own verbiage around the executive summary, but I just highlight some statistics about our executive summary, which is on the Global Exec page. For you guys who are new, when you go to our team Facebook pages, Residual Rockstars and Global Exec, up in the top, if you click on the files section, you can find some really great files for resources to help you build your business. And one of them is the Global Exec executive summary. When you're leading with the business, it gives you lots of really good statistics about Isagenix. You can also use the search function on the Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook page itself, actually, let's just do this really quick, because I think some people have never done this before. All right, I'm gonna go to Facebook. You guys, can you see my screen? Let's see. Will somebody take themselves off mute and tell me they can see my screen?
Yep,
I got it, Melissa.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
22 friend requests. Good gosh, girl.
I know, I'm so bad. Let me close these out. They're never going to stop. Okay, whatever. So right here to the far left, you can see search in this group. So like Bruce, you asked about cost. Like, so if I type in cost objections, see right here, there's a post with a YouTube video on how to handle cost objections. Now, same thing on this page. You can go to files. This is a good one on Global Exec as well. To the far left, click on files. And then scroll down. Like the call, like the dial-in information I was just talking to you guys about that I'm going to post in Messenger when we get off. It's all in a document here. We've got information on how to get paid fast, the top 100 template to make your list. Here's a really good script for those of you who, you know, are out there and wanting to just make some phone calls on your own and not pull in your upline. This script is really good to study before getting on the phone. So anyway, play with this. Go into the file section and see what you can find. And you can do the same thing with Global Exec. How do I get out? That's my question. How do I get out of my share screen? I don't know.
There should be a thing that says stop sharing somewhere. Like, I think it's at the top.
It finally came out. Okay, so that's that. Any other questions? I know it's late, but I don't want to miss any questions. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you've got to go, you can jump off too. Any other questions? Okay. So I always land on this because I think it's so true. You know, to live the life you've never lived, you have to be willing to do things you've never done. I know for me, when I first got started in this business, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing. But now I'm just not afraid to talk about it. When I first got started, I had these demons in my head about what people were going to think of me, or that I didn't know enough information. But the reality is, in my couple of years of learning a little bit about this industry, it's so much more about your network and just being credible. And if you love these products and these products have made a difference for you, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And that sounds kind of like trendy because I've heard people say that before. But what I mean is, if you're brand new and you're sharing with your warm market, if you just tell your story authentically, people trust you, people love you, people are interested in what you're doing that's making you feel good. And so it's just, all you have to do is figure out how to funnel them into some of the tools and resources and your upline, like we talked about, to get them on board. And it just takes a couple of enrollments with great stories, and it begins to snowball within your community. You get one or two people within a couple of your different networks. So for instance, for my Sadie Cox, I'll land on this. You know, she was one of the first people I ever enrolled in pharmacy school. She lost a lot of weight. She looked phenomenal. Do you know I've enrolled about probably no less than 45 people from pharmacy school since her success. And if it wasn't for her one success that everybody saw, nobody wanted to get left out, and people just started lining up. And then it was like, it spread like wildfire. And it wasn't necessarily because of me, some of those enrollments. It was credibility of someone else within that network that saw someone else get a great result. So you just have to get started somewhere, and you have to be willing to fail forward to learn this business. So I'll land on that. I hope you guys have a great week. Don't forget about the promo next week, and don't forget about the virtual launch next Wednesday night. I'll be posting all that information. You guys have a good evening. Good night.